Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today I want to talk specifically about I want to talk about Dungeons and Dragons 5th Edition and the incredibly sad situation with TSR. So this is a historical day in tabletop role-playing games. So GenCon was established by Gygax, the gentleman who invented Dungeons and Dragons and brought Dungeons and Dragons to the world. Today, right? So today there are stories saying GenCon has banned TSR, right? Which means that Ernest Gary Gygax, who is attached to the new TSR, the son of Gary Gygax, cannot attend the convention that his father created. I want to say nobody wanted this outcome, but I definitely think there are some people who wanted this outcome. I don't think that really matters because I think it's the minority. I don't think the majority of the tabletop role-playing game community was like, you know what, we'd love to see a day where the son of the man who created Gen Con is not allowed to attend Gen Con, right? So basically, it's pretty crazy the way it even happened, right? So I think a lot of grognards and tabletop role-playing game people are like, oh, this is so terrible. How could this have happened? And I look at it and I'm like, this was completely avoidable, right? And this is on TSR. I truly believe this is one. I can't say it's 100% on. TSR owns some responsibility here. This was completely predictable. In fact, when TSR announced that they were coming back, I just had this voice in the back of my head saying this is going to end in tears and flames. I had no idea it would end in tears and flames this fast, right? But so basically, I think the situation, what we need to learn as tabletop role-playing game gamers, and I think this is really a cultural issue. So many of the issues D&D is dealing with don't really have anything to do with Dungeons and Dragons. They have to do with American culture. And one of the issues we have in American culture is there's a whole lot of people who don't understand. There's a whole lot of old people who don't understand. Language has changed so dramatically that you just can't pop off and spout off and say all the terms and phrases you used to say, in whatever order you want, right? If you are going forward with a global scale commercial endeavor, you need a Gen Z and a millennial converter, right? You need a translator, right? To say the way you're saying this is completely wrong, or to say to you your ideas and your concepts are so dated that you cannot share this with the world, right? And there are people. I think President Biden is one of them. He has a layer of young people with whimsy and energy to convert his old ideas into something that can be heard by modern ears, right? And honestly, Jim Ward and Ernest Gary Gygax were incredibly foolish not to put into place a Gen Z millennial translator in their company and listen to them. They're like, we know what we're doing. They had no idea what they were doing. They had no idea how voracious and fast and powerful Twitter was. But you know what? They have absolutely no excuse. All of the warning signs have been here, and if anybody's paying attention, you would best recognize that when you roll out a commercial product and you are going to scale and you are going to be in front of the world, there are 50 questions that will come up in hour one from Twitter that you better have your answers ready to. And Jim Ward and Ernest Gary Gygax had no idea what they were doing, and they ran headlong into a wall, and they needed humility. They needed humility to say, we must have our concepts, our ideas go through a Gen Z, a millennial translator, and also a stopgap to say, hey, I think you're a great games designer, but some of your ideas are repugnant and you need to leave them at the door. You cannot make this a political product because you will get wrecked, right? And so I think that's the key. Is like it's just really critical that they did a bad job with this. They did a horrible, horrible, horrible job with this, and this was 100% predictable, right? Like Lamentations of Flame Princess and 25 other products have had exactly the issue they had, and they had no answer for it. It's clear they had no idea what was coming, and honestly, it required humility. It requires you saying, listen, if I'm an older person, I have a lot of words, phrases, and ideas that are absolutely repugnant to modern ideas, to modern ears, and it has to go through a translator. And the reason why I'm saying this is there are older people who realize this. I think President Biden realized this. Martin Short is doing a show right now with Selena Gomez. He knows nobody wants to just hear his crufty old ideas. It's got to come through a filter. It's got to come through. So he's got old sage wisdom, and that's the issue. Is Jim Ward and Gary Gygax, they got that old sage wisdom, but they don't have whimsy and energy, and they certainly don't understand what modern ears want to hear and what they will absolutely not allow to be said. And so, honestly, TSR, I think, is in a lot of trouble. I think they're going to have a hard time attaching anybody to that company, and I think all their work is for nothing. You can pack up shop now. They're done. They are done, in my opinion. That's my opinion. What do you think? Do you think that they can salvage any of this stuff that's happening right now? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider liking and subscribing, and have a wonderful millennium.